All right, then time now for our book club. Sparkz, take it away.
Hey, y'all. We're talking about Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash because it's the beginning of October and the spooky times.
Woo!
So before I get too far into anything, what do you guys think?
I found it to be fine.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty entertaining when it was involving those three characters. All the teenager stuff felt like a bad slasher movie just because the dialogue was very... But that's kind of what I expected when you get those movies. So it's hand in hand, but I enjoyed it for the most part.
Yeah.
I had one more thought. Sorry, Ben. I switched to Ryan too quickly. I didn't like the inconsistent art, and that really bugged me.
I get that.
Okay, Ben. Sorry.
It felt like a slasher movie. It felt a lot like a Freddy or a Jason movie. So I'm like, okay, I can see where this is going, and it was all right.
Yeah. So I'll say in the vein of what Freddy versus Jason was as a movie, this is would be a superior sequel to me. Like if this was made, I think this is more or less written in much the same way as far as like how the teenagers talk. And this is not my preferred version of Freddy Krueger. I prefer a little bit sharper witted Freddy Krueger than just devolving into...
Yeah, Freddy was definitely the low point for me in this.
But that's how he is in Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
So
he's much more comedic.
And that's what he'd kind of become in the later Nightmare films.
He gets a lot more...
So I understand why that's who he is here.
Because that's the progression of where he is now.
But it's not the version I prefer. But what I do like is I like the idea of what brings Ash and Jason and Freddy together.
Necronomicon?
It honestly works so well for me that it's what makes this book so strong to me.
Yeah.
The whole idea that the Necronomicon calls to Ash because Freddy's looking for it.
Freddy's too strong
And Freddy's
to use
too
it.
strong to use the Necronomicon, and that freaks it out. I love that idea.
And Jason being a Deadite.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Jason being
everything
a
like
Deadite.
not involving the teenagers, but again, because that's like
Jason being a Deadite actually. So this film, this
it was going to be a film.
This book actually has a couple of issues with me. One of the things
it's 5 issues.
Shit.
Some of the dialogue choices. A lot of the dialogue repeats itself. Like there's 4 or 5 times where they're just like, where they're saying Jason might be a Deadite or Jason is a Deadite. There's like 4 or 5 cases of them just Ash saying that same thing to other people, the same people oftentimes. And then there's like Freddy, who already has the Necronomicon, goes to Ash in a dream and says, "Bring me the Necronomicon."
Yeah,
which I thought was really weird. One of the things but going back to the inconsistent art, like towards the end of the book, Freddy's appearance changes very drastically, and I don't know if that was
goblin.
Yeah, he looks more like a goblin. I don't know if that was an artistic license choice, like he was getting more demonic as the book went on, or if that was just the artist being like, "Oh, we got to finish this."
If you're talking about like just his red form in general,
yeah.
Okay, so Freddy becomes a more demonic look of himself because he's imbued with the power of the Necronomicon.
Okay,
and that imagery is loosely inspired by a moment in the original Freddy vs. Jason film where he gets angry and attacks the girl who we see at the beginning of this book. I forget her name. But in the movie, he jumps out of Crystal Lake and attacks her. And when he does, he's more red. His ears are more pointed, and he's more demonic. That happened in that movie
because he's becoming more Deadite.
Right. So they took that idea and expanded on it here in the comic.
I also don't like the idea of Jason being a Deadite.
Why?
Because the Deadites are very crazy and like always talking and always kind of moving, but Jason is very stoic and never once speaks.
The Deadites can be a lot of different things, though.
I don't remember a Deadite.
Have you seen Army of Darkness?
Yeah.
The main, like the guy who's like the evil Ash, he's kind of just like a general. He's not.
But he's still Sam Raimi crazy.
Well, that's because it's Sam Raimi, though. I think.
Right, but that's the thing.
Like, they're not all just like. Wee!
But Jason feels very inconsistent from how we've seen Deadites and any of the Evil Dead, including the TV show.
I get that, but like him always coming back, like that.
What I actually liked about the TV show, and obviously the TV show came later, but I kind of wish they had implemented the idea much earlier, is that there are other demons in the Necronomicon, not just Deadites.
Yeah,
and that's the thing that the TV show dived into, is that it wasn't just Deadites. So I felt like Jason could have still been a demon from the Necronomicon.
That could be like,
which I think is still the
proto
thing,
version.
Nobody
of that.
has those words though. They've only known that Deadites come from the Necronomicon, so they're calling him that. But like you could go with it.
Like I
being the intention.
Yeah, I think because this is before Ash versus Evil Dead. I think it's kind of like a proto version of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If in that case, it jives better with me.
Yeah.
But I just him being a deadite just
I really
kind of rings a bell in my
I thought
ear.
all the kills were pretty. I mean, it's a slasher movie, so like I thought the kills were good.
I thought the kills are great.
I really
I thought if these kills were in a movie, I'd be like, this is
yeah,
fantastic.
I really enjoyed Freddy being able to just like Dr. Manhattan reality. Like he can do it in dreams and out of dreams because he's so powerful. I think some of that imagery, like there was like a giant cloud of him at one point.
Yes.
Like I thought some of that was like real cool.
No, yeah. If this had been, because I think Freddy vs. Jason is a weak film for those franchises to have ended on.
Yeah.
If this had been the last film for, also for Army of Darkness at the time anyway, if this had been the last film for those characters, I think this would have been a really strong note to go out on. this idea that Freddy had like found a way to become super powerful and basically a
Demon
god,
god.
But traveling between the waking world and the sleeping world, where Jason gets his intelligence back. That moment where he like stops at the trap and shakes his finger at her.
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
like that.
That's
would,
great, yeah.
that
Every
would freak
time
people
he
out.
appears on the panel, it's I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that little
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I thought Ash was written pretty well for the most part.
Yes.
It felt like Bruce Campbell.
It did.
Is the girl that he ends up with, is she a teenager? Or is she supposed to be older?
She's supposed to be a teenager.
Because he's like 35.
All right.
Yeah, she
Her name's Caroline, I think.
all the people in this book are high school age.
And they're kissing. But like, I mean, it's like whatever.
All
I
right,
mean,
that's
are they
weird.
or are they just smart employees in their
18.
20s or something?
Well,
I
the,
guess.
the dick manager guy said that they were all in high school. So like, that's
It's
besides the
whatever.
point. Yeah.
It's a slasher
slasher
movie.
No, I know.
They
Yeah.
also didn't need to kill off the two leads from the first movie.
No, I like that they did
Actually,
that.
I
No, but
was
they
going to
didn't
say
need to do it at all.
No, I was going to say I like that because they were even
That's the
saying
through
like,
line for this being a sequel.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
It's actually a nod to the Nightmare series because in the Nightmare on Elm Street series and to some of the Friday the 13th, so not all of them did it, but consistently every Nightmare on Elm Street film
Has someone from the other movies.
murdered someone from the who survived the movie before.
Oh, interesting. So like Final Destination.
Yes.
Final Destination did a
Like
similar
you
thing.
usually see someone come back from the one before and they die pretty early in the film and new characters
I
take
see.
over.
Okay, well, that
so
makes
it's kind of a
sense.
nod to the genre.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that. I also like knowing those characters from that movie. I like the way they went out. I also like that Jason has a shrine of the
Of
two
his
heads.
mom's head and
well, because he's
Freddy?
always had that,
Yeah.
and then he added Freddy's head that he got from the end of the last movie.
Yeah.
There, and Freddy's just living in his head.
So this was originally actually a real script that they
Yes.
turned into, and the book you have
Jeff Katz is the writer of this,
and
of the
it has like
script.
director's commentary in the back that I read, and he's very honest about the book. He's like, I was really troubled by we had only 5 issues to this entire book, so a lot of the extra dialogue between all the characters got cut. Like I really wanted to develop all the teenagers,
Right.
but they all had to get cut out because it's a
Yeah,
limited
yeah.
space. And I like his honesty, but at the same time, like I didn't hate it because they're teenagers who are going to get killed in a
Right.
slasher movie.
Right. He
I
focused
came-
on what was important.
I came for the 3 main characters, and I thought for the most part, I agree. Freddy is a little too cartoonish for like my version of Freddy.
Yes, it's not my preferred version, and I
says
stand by
bitch
that.
a lot,
I wish he
which
were.
is what he
I
does.
wish he were
Oh,
more.
Scary Terry.
I wish he were more like Dream Warriors Freddy.
yeah, he writes the line very well.
Yeah, then
to prime time, bitch.
like the Last Nightmares or Freddy versus Jason
Yeah.
Freddy. But I understand why this is what we got because this is where they left Freddy at.
I love like Ash being like I'm like an executive box boy or whatever, and I'm from Detroit.
More than anything, if I could change one thing, it'd be that once he is imbued with the power of the Necronomicon, I wish that Freddy were more like his Dream Warrior self, where he's just freaking scary instead
Yeah.
of making wisecracks anymore. He's just terrifying.
Yeah, but unfortunately, this is like in the progression of where it's at.
Yes,
now.
exactly.
Yeah, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. He's also not very because Freddy is a demon.
No,
in
because that's what I'm
He's a
talking
literal
about.
demon, yeah.
When I say Dream Warriors, that's the other one Wes Craven had his hands in.
Yeah.
Which we watched
So
this week.
Nightmare on Elm Street and Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and Wes
New
Craven's
Nightmare.
New Nightmare, they have my preferred version of Freddy Krueger, where
Yeah.
he'll make sarcastic jokes and he'll play with you a little.
Do you
but
know what
he's
New
still
Nightmare's
scary.
about?
No.
New Nightmare is the last one that Wes Craven was involved in, and it's about the actual actors, like they play themselves, and how
Really?
Freddy is an actual demon who like is coming back to like reap vengeance, like on
Freddy is like a demon who exists in imagination.
and like Robert Englund, the actor playing Freddy, like he's having these nightmares about Freddy, and he's painting these disgusting things.
Wes
like,
Craven is having nightmares about Freddy.
like Wes Craven plays himself. It's like a Deadpool movie. It's meta.
It's like
Wow.
Scream.
It's awesome.
But for Nightmare on Elm
I
Street.
love
and
that
more,
movie.
More
Yeah,
serious. and bitter.
the idea is that Freddy is a demon that's existed throughout all time and imagination, and you have to keep doing things with that character, with that story, or else
To keep him at bay.
He'll
Or he's
keep
good.
him, or else he'll start killing again.
Oh.
Right. It's super cool, man.
Oh
Yeah,
shit!
it's a great
All
movie.
right.
Anyway, not that movie, but this comic book. I do think this is flawed on a lot of levels,
But it's still fun.
But translating it in my mind as a sequel to that film,
There's a sequel to this book.
I would have liked to. Yes, there is.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen this actually achieved. I think this is a really solid way that
This was really close to being.
Pays a lot of homage and tribute to a lot of things fans love about all three of the characters.
This was really close to being a movie.
It was.
Like it was getting ready, and then they dropped. And then
They call
cut it out.
Ash calls Jason Wayne Dedsky.
Wayne
Yeah.
Detsky.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I thought Ash was pretty funny in this.
Ash's voice in this is really good.
I heard Bruce Campbell the entire
So did
time.
I.
Yeah.
Like when he said groovy, I'm like, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't appreciate the narration being like 4 times. Again, dialogue problem I have with this movie, with this book. 4 times they're just like, I had to cut off my hand because it went bad.
Well, sometimes it's a common, like that's something
comic
that happens
book.
in
So-
comic books is when they start an issue and they have kind of that recap statement.
No, but
And
it didn't happen in the beginning of issues. It would happen in the middle of issues, and it would be whenever they were alluding to another hand or him having to cut off his hand. It'd be like 3 or 4 times when he said the same line of dialogue in the narration specifically.
To be fair, every time there's a new Army of Darkness or Ash versus Evil Dead or something, and he talks about that, he says that exact same sentence.
Does he really?
He does. He
I really
says,
don't like that.
It got in my hand and
I
it went
lopped it off.
bad. So I lopped it off at the wrist. He says that every time.
I really don't like that.
I understand, but to be fair, he does say that every single time.
The
I'll
Army-
allow it,
Yeah.
but I don't like it.
The Army of Darkness were Freddy's, all the little Freddy's.
Yes. Oh,
That's
yeah.
great.
When
That's great.
Freddy turns into all the little Freddy, just messing with him and taking him to the cabin and everything is
Yeah.
so great. And seeing Freddy's hand pop out of ashes.
Seeing the original Nightmare on Elm Street house, like Ash like shows up there and the little
Yes.
girls
and
are
the
there.
little girls.
Yeah.
Oh, the little girls turn into deadites. I love
It's
that.
great.
The and the fingernails have the blades in the fingernails.
That's what I mean. Like moments like that, like such good like twists on the classic imagery of all three of these characters. It would have been awesome to see those play out.
It's
on
a
the big
shame.
screen.
This would have been a super fun movie.
It would have been really fun,
Yeah.
which is what Freddy versus Jason really is. It's just
Yeah.
fun, and this would have been a great like send off. I think much
Yeah.
better than that one was.
Yeah. Anything more you guys want to add, or should we move on?
If you guys are interested in, if you like slasher movies or any of these characters, I think it's a fun read. Yeah, I'd check it
it's
out.
a fun.
Especially
The
for Halloween
idea,
time.
the idea of bringing these 3 properties together could have gone a lot worse. And the basic core concept of the Necronomicon being at the heart of it is really good.
Yeah, it's actually like I didn't expect that to be like, wow, that's actually a really strong idea.
Yeah.
Like Freddy's like omnipotent now.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.